What is rare leadership? And you co-authored this with Jim Wilder, so you have to forgive me if I say that you wrote this and it was Jim. I don't know who wrote what.
Yeah.
But what is rare leadership and why is it important?
So rare leadership is really about maturity. All right. It asks the question, what separates the leaders we love to follow from the leaders we have to follow? And it's a one-word answer. That is, are they mature? And so Dr. Wilder, who co-wrote it with me, is a neuroscience attachment theory expert. And he developed a system called the life model that is a maturity development system. And so what we did is we took his approach and we oriented it towards leadership and said, what have we learned from neuroscience and attachment theory about maturity development, and how does that impact the way people lead? Because if you go through the church, you go through nonprofits, you go into government, you go into hospitals, doesn't matter where you go, things are blowing up because of a lack of maturity in our leaders. And so what we've done is we use, so Jim is, he thinks in terms of brain, what's happening in the brain, what synapses are firing, what's happening here. I think in terms of acronyms and acrostics. So I took his ideas and put them into the acrostic RARE, which stands for, these are the 4 characteristics of mature leadership. And the first one is they remain relational. And because if I don't remain relational, I am shutting down, I'm blowing up, I'm melting down. But whatever happens, you lose me, my relational self doesn't show up. So the second characteristic is the A, is act like yourself. And again, the idea here is some of us change our personality with every emotion that we feel. And so I am a totally different person when I'm angry, or I'm a totally different person when I'm sad, or I'm a totally different person when I'm afraid. And so what happens is if I'm the leader and my whole persona changes with every emotion that I feel, then people walk on eggshells around me because they never know which leader they're going to get. So there has to be some, it's not that I'm not affected by emotions, but they don't turn me into a different person. And so what you find with a lot of people who lack that level of maturity, there'll often be somebody in the office who functions almost like a surrogate mom, and they warn everybody what mood the boss is in today, kind of, watch where you step today because, you're not going to like, he's not in a good mood. And we've learned to kind of justify these things, excuse these things. But the idea is that these are really what make or break the culture that we're trying to build, is the personal maturity. So then the third one is return to joy. And that's the idea that joy is actually the fuel your brain wants to run on. It will run on fear when it has to, but it wants to run on joy. And so as a leader, I'm either going to motivate people with joy or with fear. And I'm either going to motivate myself with joy or with fear. Now, we all do a little bit of both, but if I am routinely motivating myself with fear, I'm going to burn myself out. And if I'm routinely motivating my people with fear, I'm going to burn them out. So I need to, as a leader, be able to return to joy myself, and I need to be able to help my team recognize where they're at with their emotions, help them return to joy, and help all of us kind of do what we're doing because we love what we're doing and not because of the bad stuff that's going to happen if we don't. And then that leads to the E, and that is that we endure hardship well. And that is immature people try to avoid hardship at all costs. Mature people endure hardship well. And the well is basically defined by the first 3 characteristics. And that is, when things get tough, I still remain relational. I still act like myself, and I return to joy, and I help people around me return to joy so that the best version of ourselves is showing up.